Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Howdy, and welcome to Apex Racing TV and the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup here at Silverstone, but not the full circuit. We're just the international here today. Welcome to our second round of our Porsche Cup Championship. I'm Austin. I'm joined by Andy Thompson with Louis Saraya in the production booth. You're here live watching Apex Racing TV. Andy, fantastic race we had a great race at Hockenheimring, our first round. We come over to Silverstone and a shorter layout. How we look about today?
Well, I watched back the Hockenheim for the first round. Very entertaining race, but there wasn't really much opportunity to make that pass and move. Obviously, you had the Mercedes corner that we saw a few moves going in, and obviously the shortened hairpin coming down the parabolica. But certainly here on this track, the international layout here at Silverstone, really wide track, so really good opportunity for passing moves to take place. I mean, we have got some of the long straights from the GP course, namely the Hangar Straight, so a really good opportunity, certainly if cars are in the slipstream, to make them passing moves. But you know, it's the first time I've really seen this international layout for the Silverstone, and to be fair, I'm quite impressed with it. It's a real good part of the GP circuit. So we start off with the front end of the GP coming down the straight through Abbey, through the farm curve, using the village complex, but slightly, instead of turning left going down Wellington Straight, they actually just carry on to a short road that joins them on to the exit of Chapel, where they go down to the hangar. And then we've got Stowe, Vale, and then the tricky part, which I think the cars are really going to struggle on today, Austin, is turn number 7, 8, and 9, coming down into the club corner. You know, them curbs are treacherous, and these Porsches are not well known for taking curbs, so we may see a few cars taking a little bit of a spin around there.
And getting onto the brakes and being hard onto the brakes is something that these Porsches, we saw a few lockups happen last time by. That's probably going to be the biggest part where we're going to be seeing cars lock up, as well as in Village. You're going to have that run up through turn 1 and into Village. It's going to be a very big, interesting fight onto the inside on these opening laps, because it's such a wide corner. Michael Yanni took the win and is leading the championship right now, followed by his teammate Matthias Stobeck, Sergio Guridel in third, and Mads Johnson in fourth, followed by Leon Penn. Your top 5 in our pros, and they are followed by the rest of the field. Our pro AMs Thomas Wagner, Niels Eric Isaacson, James Parker, Joshua Agzari, and Lucas Langs are top 5. Now, most of our drivers, some of them didn't take part in last week, as last week was the start of the Porsche Super Cup, but it was also the small 24 hours, and so some of the team decided, you know what, I'm just going to take 1 week off, and then I'm just going to put all my focus in on Porsche, so we're going to be seeing a lot more drivers here today, but it's actually around the same number. Victor Traps is leading the AMS Championship, followed by Luca Domko, Emil Kopmas, Thomas Worm, and Holger Meihart in 5th place. But yeah, we're going to be seeing some names that didn't take place. Some pros, some pro AMs. I think the lowest field is the AMs, but there's a lot more red on the championship right now. And looking at qualifying, current pole is Moritz Laudner ahead of Michael Janney, Mads Johnson, Roger Christensen, and Kim Andre Storm, your top 5. Meyer in 6th place is your top pro-am.
Yeah, definitely is. And some familiar names that I'm recognizing there from previous Porsche Cup series that I've commentated on, mainly the Norwegian contingency out there. Again, still very strong, I see, in this current series. Only 1 round down, Hockenheim been done, but it was a very entertaining race to watch. Gianni sort of led from the front and secured that feature race win with a great display, considering he had a lot of action from behind. I think it was Johansson that was pretty much following him around all around Hockenheim, and sort of picking up the mantle here again here at Silverstone, putting his car into 2nd place, only 0.04 of a second behind the pole sitter at the moment. And I believe they can only have 3 laps of qualifying out here, and that is them done, and 8 minutes is the total time.
Yeah, 8 minutes, all you need to go into qualifying. So we are looking at all of our drivers. Thomas Minot had a little bit of an issue at the start of their 2nd lap and will not be able to put in a fast lap. And they are down 4 seconds behind of Moritz Laudner. And we do have 3 drivers that have not taken to qualifying or the session. It's Harold S., Ryan Abraham, and Shane Dunn. They entered the session, but I think something came up or they just didn't feel right with Silverstone. And this is the international layout. So, oh, they are pit lane starters. Okay. That's what happened. But yeah, this is being the international. It takes away 2 of the longest straights. And the reasoning behind taking away the straightaways is to just make the racing a lot more tighter. Anybody can drive on a straightaway. Anybody can drive on a straightaway. Anybody can set up a straight car set up for the straightaway. With the straightaway being out of the question, it's all going to be about how you take these corners, how you attack these corners, and how you keep your tires cool throughout this entire race. Because we saw it at Hockenheimring, the cars were really good for about 4 laps, and then they all switched to tire conserving mode. Around here, there's not as many corners as we saw at Hockenheimring, so this is going to be a very, very entertaining race.
It certainly is, and obviously this track is more prone to overtaking opportunities, unlike Hockenheim last week, which has really got that one fast line, because they've taken out the maggots, Beckett's, turns and stuff like that. It's going to promote some really great racing here tonight, but we can take us through the grid, and that's over to you, Austin.
Moritz Laudner is on pole ahead of Michael Janney, Mads Johansson, Richard Christensen, Kim Andre Storm, Andreas Meyer, Tim Jarschel, Leon Penn, Borjan Moldovan, Ross Deal, Carl Frederick Herzog, and Thomas Wagen in 12th place. They're followed by Matteo Kunzer, Victor Tarp, Sergio in 15th place, followed by Thomas Torp, Todd Edwards, Joshua Agzari, James Parker, Philip Hammer, Emil Kopmas, and Twine Mice, Luca Domko, and Matthias Martinson in 24th. Behind them is Noah Chila, Jordan Johnson, Gordy Hall, Mads Christian Bakken, Thomas Worm, Kim Andre Brooklyn, Peter Wadsworth, Dano Merchants, Ronald Moons, Holger Meifert, Nick Horn, and Alexander Scarrett in 36. Behind him is Hilner Wilhelmsen, Simon Moldevkai, PJC, Paul Joseph Clifton 39th, and Thomas Minot in 40th. Harold Joatis, Shane Dunn, and Ryan Abraham, I believe, will be starting from the pit lane. in this 43 car grid here at Silverstone as everyone is lining up and getting ready to rock and roll here at probably one of the most famous tracks in the world.
Certainly is. It's going to be a very interesting first lap. Certainly, like you mentioned before, that first going down into the village corner turn number 3 is going to be very interesting with the size of field we had. But one thing that sort of blew my mind is the I rating of these guys out on track. Extremely high I rating. I think the average overall is 4K. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
You want to know what the I rating for Moritz is at the top? 10,001. As it is green here at Silverstone. It's a great start. We have a stall car in the middle of it. The 160 of that is Carl Frederick Herzog dropping away, and down to the inside it is Yonder and Jani taking off to the lead. A little bit of side-by-side action as they go up through turn 1, and down to the inside is Yarshal and Storm as it's 3 wide into the village corner. And through the loop they go. They're not breaking at all, but oh no, contact! That's Storm around. Storm was looking like he was about to line up.
Oh, and again.
More contact and chaos. We got cars going way off. That's Penn getting turned around. User is off as well. Actually, User is doing good, but he's chasing down Wagon, the Pro-Am Championship leader right now. Victor Taras doing really well, and he's getting a little bit of challenge from Torbus Taras, and off wide. I'm not sure who that is. Is that Sergio Gradel at Cop's Corner? Well,
I don't know, but it was certainly an interesting first couple of corners. I mean, that's one of the things in these cars that they've really got to be careful about is obviously the incidents coming on this first corner. The cars are going to be super close, packed together, and we saw some of the big names get taken out there. Kim Strom taken out. He is down in 15th position at the moment, just on a fight back to try and get him up. The front runners managing to keep relatively safe. The top 4 still remain in the same where they started out on the grid, but there's some really big gainers. Thomas Wangen up 6, Matteo Kurzer up 6 places as well, and Sergio Gudel. I know, it's absolutely insane, but then you see the other end, the cars going down. Leon Penn down 27 positions to where he started, back down in 35th place. So, you know, that first lap has really shaken up the grid, and it's going to be interesting now. 28 laps still to go. Long way to go in this race, but a lot of the drivers that were up the front, as we can see the carnage in the background. Again, more cars spinning out, so the guys really struggling with turn number 5, the turn coming back down onto the hanger straight. A couple of guys there.
That's Herzog.
It's out the front.
Yeah, Carl Frederick Herzog was up at the front, and we saw him turn around at the end of the straight as this is Leon Penn, and this is 4 wide ahead of him, and it looks like a car park, honestly, coming out through the club corners as look at Penn just trying to carve his way through there as we are looking at this massive fight. Yeah, Leon Penn in that Pure Sims Esports car is at the back of this group as they fly through Abbey. We're looking at a few cars ahead of it. Thomas Bloom stuck in the middle there, but you can see that white and blue car. Oh, car goes around. That's Badokiev. Goes around just a little bit too much grass right there. Penn setting himself up for a better exit as he's trying to catch up to Thomas Worm in that WNS Esports machine. But you get to see the difference of line that they take coming through the loop. Here comes Leon Penn on that straightaway, the second half of the straightaway, honestly, as they head into that turn. Up ahead of Orion Racing, Tahaj Edwards. I believe that Orion car did not take place in last round, so it's good to see those Orion colors back on track. I got to say, massive fan of their logos and their, I like to call them arrows in their livery. They always include those arrows everywhere, and that
It certainly is very, very bright colours, and it certainly pops with the wheels that they've got going on. But if we look at the timing tower, we can just see how much this grid has been shaken up in this first race here tonight. The top 4 remaining the same as Lona, Jani, Johnson and Christensen still in the top 4. But then we look from P5 all the way down to P10, have made absolute massive gains in the field. P11 from IRA, P12 Moldovan and Strom all coming casualties in that first opening couple of laps here as we watch Bogdan Moldovan defending there with Strom on the attack here to try and get that piece done. Manages to get it done coming down here into the club.
Madovan gave him the spot, didn't want to attack on Strom, and Strom did a very good overtake right there. And Strom is trying to, both Strom and Madovan have had a very rough start. Back to the front of our grid right now, Johnny and Johansson in the Apex Racing Academy cars trying to chase down Moritz Launer, who has just been leading this race from start to, well, currently. The race is not over yet, but as they go through the least practice corner of this Silverstone layout, and it is the least practice corner because you won't see cars over there.
No, definitely not. I mean, the GT3 cars are probably the ones that mostly drive around here, but these Porsche cars are really twitchy, aren't they?
Thomas looking down the inside. It's side by side. Thomas got a good run. He got a good look. He's going to be side by side, entering that chicane, pressuring Yarshell down to the inside as he's going to try to hold it around the outside right there, and he does. He goes deep and he cuts across the nose right there, and oh, he gets turned. Oh, again, turns Kunzer. Mateo got turned around, and he's still in the middle of the track, and everybody's trying to avoid him. But Mateo, he went deep into the corner. He got the move made. He came across the front nose, but then it was Wagon who just didn't want to lift right there, and well, just got into the back of him and entered the club corner. And we were saying club corner is going to be a big talking point, and it certainly is right there. We've already seen a few incidents happening in club corner.
I mean, that's probably what we're going to see a lot of today. Cars making a dive, coming down into club to try and get that inside line on the car, but that will severely compromise their exit speed. And as exactly as we saw there, Thomas Wangen probably innocently just obviously got that better line through club, got that overspeed on Cushion, and unfortunately the closing speed from Wangen to Cushion just accidentally tipped his back end and unfortunately spun him down. So after a very good race, Cushion down there in 14th at the moment. But just looking at the rest of the field, Harris, the AM driver there, up in 8th, really profiting in that opening lap, managing to keep it relatively clean overall.
Jordan
so
Johnson
it's really good.
and Martinson going side by side through club, as it looked like Martinson or Hammer had a little bit of an issue and was going much slower than everybody else. As they're still side by side. Matthias Martinson side by side with Chilla. Chilla around the outside of Martinson. Martinson has been falling down spots. Does Martinson have damage? And Martinson holds it around the outside at the loop and down to the inside. And you got to watch out on this apex because there is dirt on that apex right there. If you go over there, you're going to be kicking some dirt onto the track. Be making the exit far less. Martinson might have an issue because he's been falling down spots. There is Antoine Mice going side by side with Sheila as they're onto the curves right there, and Sheila's onto the curves on the outside. Noah and Antoine, is he going to go deep onto the corner into club? He's going to be forcing Sheila to go pretty tight to the corner, but now he's being forced to go pretty tight now. Watch Sheila using all the curves on the outside, but it's not going to happen. Antoine able to hold it down to the inside, and now it's Donko and Kupma is going side by side of each other.
I mean, this group is just battling super hard between each other, giving each other no quarter really, and that's probably one of the big attributes of these Porsche cars, is that the racing can be super close. You can do a little bit of door rubbing on these cars and they won't melt into each other. They can take a little bit of damage to the Porsche cars, but they need to be careful. As we see there, you know, these Porsches do not like high curbs, and if you hit one of these high curbs around here on the Silverstone International Circuit, as we saw there from Ross Deal, he can actually get quite a lot of air. But we joined back with Leon Penn, just trying to get his recovery drive. He was the car that we did see spin into Village into that first lap. So really on a recovery drive now is Leon Penn of Pure Sims Esports to try and get up. He's in P26 at the moment, but the thing he does have going for him is there's a lot of cars in front of him with a lot of battles. So there's opportunity for Leon Penn to maybe try to get back up into that all-important reverse grid position of P number 10.
Back up ahead, speaking of P number 10, is a side-by-side battle. Joshua Agzari going down to the inside of the 221. Actually, no, Joshua's stuck onto the outside. That is Strong going side-by-side with him. You can see on how close they are. Exiting Village, side-by-side again. Strom holding holding it onto the inside. Alexari holding it around to the outside. This is a dive by Mateo Kuzer. Kuzer getting very aggressive. Strom defending in the middle. You see the back end of Strom getting really messed up right there. He was involved in that opening scrapple bar fight, honestly. And you can see the back end just sliding out right there as Josh Hughes putting the pressure on the pro right there. Strom stuck onto the outside. Josh Hughes looking down to the inside. He hits one of those curves down to the inside. Sachka popping up the car. And behind him, Kuzer and Parker are banging with each other, slapping each other through the club corner.
Kuzer, Parker, Edwards, all in close proximity to each other. Hammer not that far behind. I mean, you can see the group there from P12 all the way down to P25. It's just so close. I mean, it's not even white timings. It's either orange or yellow, which all indicates less than 5/10 or less than a second. So you can sort of see how closely this field is currently compact still on lap number 10 of 28. I mean, the guys are just trying to get the positions done. There's no real breakaways. There's little breakaways at the front. I think the biggest gap is between 10th and 11th between Myro and Moldan, who's sort of like 4 seconds behind. But from 11th place from Moldan, coming down from that, you got Strom, Kazura, Parker, Edwards, Hammer, Johnson, Martinez, Schiller, Mays, Koopman and Deal. So still anybody's guess that the position from P23 all the way up to P11 is up to a grab still.
As we're looking at our gap up front, we're starting to see, well, that's one of the Apex Racing Academy cars. That is PJC. Paul Joseph Clist making way for Johnny and Johansson. Might have helped out. Might have helped them out because that gap has fallen down to half a second, and it is being fallen down. It used to be about 6/10 on lap 5. It's now 4/10, so it's just fallen down marginally. But they are keeping their gap to Launer, as Launer is just holding that half a second lead, a bunch in front of the Apex Racing Academy duo, as the third, Jarshell, is down in 5th place.
Yeah, Jarshell really struggling at the moment just to try to keep hold of Christensen in 4th place. Keeps him at around about a second. It does dip below a second, but then creeps back up. So Jarshell just really needs to make sure that he tries to maximize the speed of these Porsche cars around this track to close that gap up. Obviously, if he can stay within that slipstream effect coming down the hanger straight, that should pull them slightly closer back together. But there's certainly the pocket battles that are going on at the moment. So you got 1st to 5th at the moment, quite closely compact. Then you've got Stick all the way down to 10th. I mean, it's just everywhere at the moment, isn't it? All coming around here, coming around into Abbey here, 2x2. It's like the arc out on track at the moment, but Johnson just managing to keep that Pure Sims cars in front as they're coming down into the village turn number 3 again.
That was beautiful and brave by Jordan Johnson, holding it down to the inside through the fast Abbey corner and just held it around to the outside and able to hold off Hammer. And now Hammer's going to have to focus on these 3 cars all bunched up behind him. As here is the Orion car of Antoine Mays. Mays on Sheila. Sheila unable to hold him off, and there goes Mays down low. And Antoine making it move right there. Beautiful move by Antoine Mays of the Orion Racing, but he is under pressure once again. He's still got that inside line. Sheila holding off Mays. Mays hits that corner, and around in the background goes Martinson. Matthias Martinson of Alcatech goes around again. Second time I think we've seen him make a mistake so far in this series. And I don't think they mentioned Alcatech in the YouTube chat, so that curse still is alive.
But Deal and Mays having a real good battle, and what we've got now is Chilla just poking his nose in there as well to do. So Chilla leading the group out at the moment, but Mays, Deal behind are having a real good fight, and that's the beauty of this track compared to last week, is there's so many different lines you can take around this Silverstone track, which is promoting, a little bit of door bang in there.
Yeah, a little bump and a bang, and honestly, it kind of looks like a TCR race around here. The amount of bumping that is going on. Madovan holding off Storm and Madovan chasing each other. As you can see, just in the back on Kuzer and Alexari are racing each other in the Pro-Am category. As Bogdan and Madovan are battling, as back to that fight. Cruiser looking down to the inside of Abby, getting forced all the way onto the inside of the grass. Hopefully it does not. I don't believe we'll be getting a slowdown penalty for right there. But Kunzer and Joshua Agzari. Joshua getting a good run just right onto the bumper. Back up to our lead of the race. Launer and Johnny are caught up with each other as they are nose to tail. And Madovan has had an issue. Madovan's off the track, and he's falling down to 16th. As our lead for the race is bumper to bumper right now. Johnny and Launer have caught up, well, close in on each other. Johansson, Christensen, and Jarshell, I think our entire top 5 are kind of in this fight. Actually, it just is the top 4.
Yeah, it certainly is. The top 4 really close together now. That lead at the front just been eliminated with that slipstream effect coming down the Hanger Straight. So there's a real battle on now for that first position. Jani only 0.3 of a second. Johansson just 0.3 of a second behind him. So the top 3 super close together. Christensen just fallen off a little bit, 1.5 seconds back, but has certainly a fight on his hand with Jarcel in 5th place. To be able to, so those two really need to try and work together at the moment to try and get up. But as you can see in the background, completely not working together. Side, even parts of the track.
Michael Janney looks down to the inside for the lead of the race at the end of the Hanger Straight. They're going to be side by side. Launer holds it around to the outside, the 111, defending against the 199. Johansson and Johnny. But Johnny and Johansson attacking Launer. Johnny trying to hold it around the outside. Is not going to have it happen right now. And he's got his teammate on his bumper, and they got to make this move happen, or else they might need to focus on switching each other or using both of them to attack the leading Moritz Launer as they fly through Abbey at the start of this track and heading into Village right now. Are we going to be seeing another close attack? Looking down to the inside. There goes Johnny once more, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think Johnny's just looking for that slipstream effect down the Hanger Straight. Just needs to try and keep his car on the rear bumper of Lama in first place. He does have the luxury of having his teammate Johansson behind him that probably won't make that lunging move on him. So it's given Johnny the opportunity to try and make the pass here. But the closing speed, you can see they're not quite close enough to make that move here into Stowe. So at the moment, Lona is still managing to keep that first place, but coming under so much pressure from the Apex Racing Academy drivers behind him, Johnny and Johnson, just trying to see what they can do. But it always seems to be that Lona just managing to get that little bit of a gap here coming out onto the start-finish straight there, half a second gap over Johnny. So it does seem to have that club corner really nailed down to be able to give him a slight little advantage over the second place, giving them a little bit of a breather, but that gap does close up significantly as they come through here into Village. And what Johnny just needs to make sure he does is try to stay as close as he can, trying to maximize that slipstream as we see him there, trying to use all the track possible to keep as close as he can to our race pole sit or first place at the moment as we watch him again coming down the Hanger Straight here. Johnny not really getting the speed or getting that slipstream effect into opportunity to make that pass. Cole closes up really well here into Stowe Corner, but then just sort of loses a little bit of time coming out. We'll see again if Johnny loses a little bit of time here.
It's just biding his time. It's all about getting a very good run through the club corner, as Launer just seems to be more on point with that ace right there. But how much is Johnny just using Launer as a reference and is just biding his time, waiting for the end? Because Launer is doing a fantastic drive right now to stay ahead of Johnny and Johansson. But Michael is taking a much tighter entry into Village as they're heading into the loop. You can see Launer is taking a much wider entry and then a tighter turn-in, and Johnny is just taking a lesser of a turn-in, and I feel like that's to maximize his speed onto the Hanger straightaway, and that might... He's just trying to do whatever he can to get ahead of Moritz Launer as Moon's attacking Thomas Worm Jr.
Certainly is a battle in the AMs ensuing here, with Worms currently holding that P27 spot with Moons just trying to look down the inside.
Oh, this is too wide, and this is getting very tight. Wadsworth looking down to the inside. That's 3 wide at a moment. Wadsworth on Worm. Worm and Wadsworth going side by side, but Wadsworth gets ahead of him right there. Ronald Moons kind of stuck in the middle, and now Wadsworth attacking Worm as Moons has just been pinching. He's now lost 3 spots as there's Herzog. Herzog and Moons side by side and bumping through the corner.
Yeah, coming through Stowe, that was great there. Nearly a 3 wide coming through Stowe corner. Still battling out here. Currently on lap 19 of 28, so still a fair way to go in this race to try and gain that positions. Oh,
that was Wadsworth going up on 2 wheels ahead of Worm and Herzog as Ronald Moons is just trying to stay with the pros record. That got very nasty, very fast. Let's take a look at our amateur championship leader, Victor Taras. He is holding off Thomas Torp up ahead. Michael Janney and Lerner are side by side. Janney's got the inside line at Club Corner with less than 10 laps to go. Johnny making the move, but here comes his teammate Johansson looking down to the inside. He lets off the space to give Johnny the space and continue that pressure, but Lerner under pressure by Michael Johnny, who for a second in the break zone was down to the inside and ahead of him.
yeah, it definitely is. He's certainly under a lot of pressure. Is Lona at the moment at the front from Johnny in second. Even Johansson, I think they're going to obviously try the double overtake on Lona if they can get that move done. I think what they do need to try to do is try to push Lona offline, because at the moment he seems to have that race in line. So whatever Johnny's trying to do and trying to get his car alongside is that Lona's able to power out at the corners to take the position back. So I think they really need to try to push Lona offline if they can to try and just limit that speed that he gets out of the corner, because it seems to be at the moment he has got excellent speed coming out of the corner. But what is going to be interesting now is they're now coming up on a lot of backmark traffic, so it's going to play into this race win. So Daniel Merchant currently in P38th at the moment is the first of the backmarkers. You can see all the front runners behind, so it's going to be interesting to see what these backmarkers and what sort of play they make in this race win for this race 1 here around at Silverstone International Circuit.
So that's Daniel Merchant, and that who else was that?
I think that was Paul Joseph Kliss, wasn't it?
Was that PJC?
I think it was.
That was so weird. PJC runs the Apex Racing Academy paint as well, and underneath the Apex Racing Academy team, he's not officially part of the team, but that was very weird.
Literally stopped his car. I think you had one last week as well. One of the back markers stopping his car coming down into the Mercedes-Benz, literally letting the front runners down. And I think PJC, as you're now calling him, did exactly the same there. Stopped his car. Merchant got a bit spooked and went extremely wide into Village. But that was good news for Lona out in front, because that was 2 cars that literally got out the way, literally, for this front runner battle. Because I think what he doesn't need is a back marker just compromising his speed slightly, because he's literally got his eyes in the back of his head at the moment, with all the 2 Apex Racing Academy cars literally climbing over the back of him to capitalize on any slight mistake that our current race sitter is going to do of Lona there. So it's going to be interesting now coming down into the crux of this race, and it's going to be interesting to see what the Apex Racing Academy drivers can do. But that was a bit of luck there. Yeah, that was a little bit of luck for a little bit of slipstream effect.
No,
there.
it's not a lot. Okay, yeah, you let Johansson by as Johnny and Johansson are still trying to attack on Lawner, as it looks like Deal has gone into the pit lane amongst a few other drivers. Pete Wadsworth, Daniel Merchant, PJC, and Nick Horn are in the pits. Nick is actually in the in our YouTube chat. He had a false start and decided to just not take part in the race and just sit back and watch after that mistake off the line, as it is still Moritz ahead of the 2 Apex Racing Academy drivers. Only Apex Racing Academy drivers have won the races, I believe, or I am confused. Who won the second race of Hockenheim Ring?
I'm not sure it was. I didn't quite get to the end of that race as I was watching it before this, but Not sure who won that second race. We can find out. But yeah, I did see that jump start at the start of the race, right at the back of the grid. It was on the club corner. I just saw a car at the back just going well before the rest of the field, and yeah, it seems to have confirmed what I thought, that one of the cars at the back did jump start indeed. It was pretty obvious on the cameras. If you watch it back, you'll see it right at the back. I think it was it was
Stobeck.
car, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was Stobeck who won race number 2 at Hockenheimring, and Stobeck also had an issue, or is Stobeck even here? I don't think Stobeck is here for this week.
No, he's not. No.
So only Apex Racing Academy cars have won last week. Stobeck is not here and is just leaving his teammates Yanni and Johansson, who were honestly inseparable at the time. But Lahner trying to be the first Apex Racing, first other team to take a win here in the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship. As
doing a great start, though, isn't he?
Ahead of Johnny and Johansson.
He's doing a great job, and we saw there again, you know, coming out of turn number 5, coming down onto the hanger straight, he managed to get half a second to 0.6 of a second sort of advantage over Johnny. So that village section for Lona at the moment is exceptionally good, where he's able to get that slight advantage over the Apex Racing Academy drivers behind him, and they do close up the gap, so they do close it sort of up around this part of the track. But then as soon as they come out into the hanger straight, Lona seems to have like half a second advantage, which is all he needs to keep these guys at the moment at bay. And I think Gianni must be getting a little bit frustrated at the moment there in P2. Can see the race win in front of him, but Lona's doing an excellent defensive job here to keeping the Apex Racing Academy drivers at bay. I mean, if he wins this race, it'll be a stupendous drive on the German there out in front. But this back mark here, just is he going to come into effect into Stowe, just slightly hanging off? So luckily Shane done there, just keeping out of the way. But Christensen was getting onto the back of this front group, but has fallen away again, so maybe struggling a little bit out here. 3 laps left to go here at Silverstone.
3 laps left, and the lead is Lahner, Johnny, Johansson, your top 3. Christensen has fallen back a little bit from the top 3, but honestly, this could come to Christensen in case something unbelievable can happen. As looking down the field, Parker and Storm attacking each other. Carl Frederick Herzog looking down to the inside right now. Herzog and the 160 of Herzog. He had that slow start off the line. He fell down the field, and he's just been in this fight all along. As big slide by Borklund as he tried to hold down to the inside of Herzog.
Yeah, luckily managed to get off that racing line. You just saw a big gaggle of cars behind him just coming around that corner. Luckily spun it, and or unluckily for him, but spun it off the track, so didn't impede the drivers behind him. But just taking a quick look down the rest of the field before we get into the last couple of laps here and watch this front race. The Pro-Am drivers, Merrill there in 7th, fighting it quite hard with Wangen. But Harris, the top of the AM driver, currently 12 positions ahead of his nearest rival. Taras driving that car, and I think we pretty much saw the same at Hockenheim as well. So really dominating the amateur field is Taras at the moment. The next one there is Koopmans, who we're watching on screen, in 21st, who's in a battle at the moment with Domko in 22nd. So the real battle there for the AMs is the second place overall. But out in front, Myra in the Pro-Am has got a slight little advantage over Wangen in P8, so has got a tune of around about 1.3 seconds. So just needs to keep it nice and smooth, and he should get the Pro-Am win. But certainly the race at the moment is for the overall race win at the front of the field. Walona there, 0.2 of a second, still managing to get that little bit of a gap coming down on the hangers straight. And Gianni really needs to look at his lines coming into that village section to see if he can maximize the speed, because that's really where Lona's been able to pull out that slight gap and neutralizing that slipstream effect. But we're coming now into the last lap of this race, and Lona's sort of keeping them Apex Racing Academy drivers at bay for literally the whole entirety of this race. And is he able to do it on this last lap?
Yeah, white flag in the air. 1 lap to go for Lawner or Johnny. This is the last opportunity for all of them. Johnny looking down to the inside as we ride on board of Simon Madokaev. As, well, he's got the catbird seat and pretty much being the chase car that these cars are trying to, well, that will be closing in as they head onto the hangar straight right now. And here we go. 310 separates Johnny and Lawner. Johnny's going to have to be very aggressive right now if he wants to go for that move. But Lawner just staying ahead. Johnny not looking for the overtake opportunity right now. You might be thinking about that last corner option as we ride on board of Johnny. Is Johnny going to look down to the inside? Last lap dive? No, we are not going to see that. Just trying to force him into a stake mode is a perfect line by Lawner. Johnny, 2 quarters to go, unable to close in, and it's going to be Moritz Lawner to take race number 1 in the feature race here at Silverstone.
That was just an excellent drive there from Lawner from start to finish. Had extremely fast drivers behind him, but managed to keep him at arm's length for the entirety of that race. Mara manages to get the Pro-Am win here in race for number 1, and Taurus is your Am victor in here in P9. So, I mean, Taurus at the moment, he just seems to be on fire, so far ahead of the rest of the Am field. It sort of begs the question, is he in the right class? Is he in the right class here?
He'll be even higher. Starting race number 2, he'll be starting on the front row in 2nd place. Thomas Torp finished in 10th to take the pole position for race number 2. Meyer, Andreas Meyer, is going to be starting on, well, is going to be finishing with the Pro-Am victory in 7th place.
Yeah, he's going to be on the 2nd row of the grid. So the reverse grid for the 2nd race is going to be a Pro-Am affair with obviously the Am driver Taurus there in 2nd place in race number 2. So it's going to be super interesting with the fast pro drivers behind. But the Ams and the Pro-Ams really mixing it up. And the 2nd race is certainly going to be interesting.
Yeah, Moritz Lawner will be taking the win. We'll be starting race number 2 in 10th place, followed by Michael Johnny in 9th, Mads Johansson in 8th, Roger Christensen 7th, Tim Darshall, Sergio Gurridel, Andreas Meyer, Thomas Wagen, Victor Terrace, and Thomas Torp, your top 10. The top 10 will be flipped, and everybody else 11th down will be starting in their grid spots. That is your race 1 results. Moritz Lawner taking the win for Door Esports. We'll be right back for the sprint race, race number 2 here at Silverstone on Apex Racing TV after these messages.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers, including Peter Berryman, John Robertson, Brandon Trano, and IndyCar World Champion Alex Palou. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
After a heart-pounding, action-filled race number 1. We get ready for race number 2 as the drivers are getting warmed up, warmed down, cooled down. We're just taking a little bit of a breather before we go ready to rock and roll again as our warm-up is finished and it's time for the cars to take to the track for the sprint race and to end this day off with a bang here at Silverstone for the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Series. Top 10 are reversed. Thomas Torp on pole, followed by Victor Taras, the AMS race championship leader, and Victor will be starting on the front row, followed by Thomas Wagen, Andreas Meyer in fourth, Sergio Garridel, Tim Darshall, Roger Christensen, Mads Johansson, Michael Johnny, and Moritz Launer. Top 10 all flipped over, and Launer, Johnny, and Johansson are going to be very interesting to watch off the start. It's going to be a heart pounder, and I can't wait for this one.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, first race was epic. You know, this track promotes cars going side by side, so I'm pretty sure in this sprint race we're going to see exactly the same. But a lot of the cars did have a few incidents on the first lap, so they really need to pay attention of the car positioning. Certainly coming around that village, around turn 3 to 5 seems to be where a lot of the action was in that first race.
All right, well, the lights are on. It's time to get ready to rock and roll. Race 2 time here at Silverstone as we are green, green, green. Here it's a very good start. It's a very wild start down into the field. I see one of the Apex Racing Academy cars getting very active right there in the background. That's Johansson and Launer. And they're swiping and battling with each other. Thomas Torp and Taras are battling off with each other. Andreas Meyer getting it down to the inside as Wagner and Meyer going down. As you can see, we get a little blip shot just barely as everybody is just seeing where they can go onto the inside. But Meyer looking down to the inside of the 261 right now of Thomas Wagner. But Meyer and under pressure by Sergio Garridel. As Sergio is getting a good run. This is all Porsche bumper right there by Sergio as he's looking down to the outside line. Just one car defending onto the inside. That's Thomas Meyer, the last of the Pro-Ams ahead of the pros. Sergio trying to get a little bit of gap right there, but diving down to the inside is the 155 of Sergio on Wagner. Wagner and Sergio are bumping and banging with each other. They got Meyer up ahead. Meyer being a roadblock for Sergio. Sergio holding around to the outside right there, and he's able to make the move at club quarter. Sergio Garridel around the outside at lap 1, able to get up into 4th place right now as everybody all around him unable to be making moves. Yawner up into 6th place. He had an amazing start. Johansson is in 9th place. He's pretty much fallen down. Michael Johnny is in 11th as Kunzer is up into 10th.
Yeah, certainly has. The biggest winner there is Lona there, up into P6, our race 1 winner. So in an ideal position to strike, being one of the top pro drivers in front. So you got Garel in 4th at the moment, but at the top we got Torps managing to keep that pole position for this race number 2 and holding on to that first place. Taras, the AM driver, doing a cracking job at the moment, securing that 2nd place. Mirrell in 3rd, Gudel in 4th, Wagner in 5th, and Lona in 6th, up 4 positions there. And Gianni, which I thought would be rubbing his hands together, saying, well, at least I've got Lona behind me at the moment, I can just crack on, has lost 2 places out on track.
He's lost 2 spots, and Launer's gained 4. Launer's up in 6th place, and he's sitting in the cap for speed of the Pro Championship. But looking at the race right now, Thomas Torp all up in the lead by himself as Victor Taras, our amateur championship leader by quick map, 17 spots, is in 2nd place.
I mean, 17 spots being ahead of your nearest rival in your own championship. I mean, that is just insane amount of places ahead of your rivals. Really will be racking the points up and just taking a commanding hold in the championship. But it's still early days yet, only on lap number 3 of 19 for this 2nd race. And we have literally, you can see the timing tower there. Every car all the way down to P23 is within a 2nd of each other. So it's literally, oh, there's a little bit of an incident there. I didn't quite catch who the car spun in the background was, but yeah, a little bit of action there on race number 3, on lap number 3 even.
Yeah, lap number 3. Not a lot of incidents. Actually, no. Well, we do have the 3-car incident that just happened. And, oh, that's just rough. That is just rough.
Not sure who that was.
And we go back live, and there's 1 car around. Who that would be? Was that a Strom? No, it was Daniel Merchant.
Yeah, I'm just
Ryan
gonna
Emperham. It was
Merchant
who was the one that spun around, and Ryan Emperham that we just got back live, we saw turn around as we have a move for second place. Meyer and Tars going side by side. Tars, though, able to hold it around to the outside at Village right now. And he's still now holding it around to the outside as a 282, trying to put some pressure on him. But Tars holding it around to the outside once some more. As it looks like Sergio getting into the grass a little bit. Tars, though, getting the speed and onto the front straightaway. Well, really the back straightaway here at the Hangar Straight. They're side by side. But Meyer, he's got that inside line. Here comes Sergio. Sergio is not impacted by either of these series. They're still side by side entering club corner.
Wow, I mean, Towers is just not giving up anything to these Pro-Am or even the Pro drivers, doing an excellent defensive job, just keeping it nice and clean, keeping his car on the fast line there and managing still to secure that P2 spot. But what that has done now is given Thorpe a really good opportunity to scamper away 1.7 seconds ahead with this battle that's currently ensuing out on track for P2. Towers holds that second place at the moment, but Real's really putting a lot of pressure.
Sergio getting into the back of Meyer right there, and Sergio, oh, you can see he's really willing to put some pressure right there because, oh, big crash in the background. Jarshell is around, and you can see the damage of the 221. Joshua Agzari was involved in that one, and what happened here indeed? Tim Darshell, teammate to, oh, he just lost on his own. And watch this hit right here. Bang!
I mean, it was just sort of like no man's land. I mean, he's in no man's land at the moment. How? Oh, there we go.
Gosh.
Wow. I mean, there's nothing he could have done there. I think it was
Mike who got airborne?
Airborne and literally took a spin on his way. There was just literally nothing he could do there. Lost it coming in, out through the farm curve. Was in the racing line. Wasn't able to move off the racing line. Oh, as we got another driver there. That looked... Did that look like Strom? No, that was Thomas Wangan as had a spin there coming out of...
What's going on?
I don't know.
As we go, and as we went to that replay, there were 3 wide heading to Village. So we're going to be taking a big look right here. And Wagner just lost it on his own right there at club corner, right in front of our leaders. And our leaders, Michael Launer, Moritz Launer, and Michael Janney were side by side. Janney is in 6th. Where did Janney come from?
I mean, he's just had a rocket. I think he profited a lot there from all that incidents. The 2 Apex Racing Academy drivers, which you would expect to be, being the iRacing that those 2 guys are, managing to keep clear of all the incidents that's going on, really profiting up to P6 at the moment. So game on now for the Apex Racing Academy drivers. They're in 6th and 7th.
They're not fighting for the lead. They're not fighting for the lead. They're just trying to chase down Sergio Gabriel. Launer is in 5th place. He's in 2nd place in the pros. Our lead car is a Pro-Am, Thomas Torp. Victor Taras, the AM driver, is in 2nd place, and he's holding off Andreas Meyer. Meyer was ahead just momentarily, but Victor Taras has been defending with his life right there and doing a fantastic job. And honestly, I think he's closing in on Thomas Torp.
He certainly is. The gap was 1.7 seconds. He's taken 7/10 of a second out of that lead that Thorpe had. Now he's down within slipstream range. As you can see there, the time's starting to tumble down. So Thorpe, which did manage to get away earlier on with the battle in between Taras and Meyer there in 2nd and 3rd. Meyer's just probably thought, you know what, let's get back Thorpe into this battle, and then I'm going to start again trying to get the position. But we're certainly closing down. So Thorpe did manage to get away, but Taras, the AM driver at the moment, is driving like an absolute demon and able to close down that gap and get within the slipstream effect of the Pro-Am driver in front of him.
Yeah, and he's putting pressure on the Pro-Am driver. As you're saying, you see the gap. He just closed 4/10, 3/10 last lap, 2/10 the lap before. He was losing time ahead of him, but that's because he was under pressure by Meyer. But I think Meyer and Sergio have lost grip in those tires, and Taras has just been looking after his tires and is starting to close in. 4/10 last lap, no pressure at all for either of them. So that was just based on Taras. Maybe a little bit of a mistake by Torp, but Taras, Victor Taras of Walk Racing Esports, well, they completely lost the name of Walk right there. They full on a run mode.
Yeah, it definitely is. And our viewers, you're not missing out on anything. It certainly is a Pro-Am, followed by an Am, followed by a Pro-Am at the top of this field at the moment. It was a reverse grid, so it did start with Thorpe in pole position with Taras in 2nd place.
This
but
is not...
managing to keep it there, though.
This is not an episode of Stranger Things. Your television is completely correct. As Tars, though, under pressure by Meyer. Meyer getting a good run. Meyer looking onto the inside at Abby. As they go side by side at the end of the Hamilton straightaway. As holding around to the outside, Victor Tars stays ahead of Meyer. Meyer getting a little bit loose back and got out just from him right there. Tars defending onto the inside. Meyer under pressure by Sergio. Sergio definitely saw that, and Sergio took a lot of curve right there as Meyer is battling with that back end. We saw it just slide out at the end of Abby, and that is playing very good for Meyer. Well, very good for Victor Tars, and Sergio, who is just watching this fight. He's looking behind. Warner and Jenny are 1.6 seconds behind him, 1.7 seconds. Warner looks to have cleared away from Johnny in 5th place.
Certainly is, but he's not really closing up Lorna on back of Sergio in P4 at the moment. So certainly these four managing to keep away and keep an arm distance.
That's a lockup by Meyer. Meyer trying to get the car slowed down to the inside, and here comes Sergio down to the inside. Sergio found the opportunity, and Sergio goes by for 3rd. It's a Pro-Am Pro, your top 3.
Certainly is there, and Tari, you couldn't see where he's coming around Abby there. Literally, the car sliding across the road, so really on the limit. And Sergio takes a real dive around there.
Watch Sergio go down to the inside, but Sergio unable to hold it on Taras. Taras is holding around to the outside. Sergio trying to get that car slowed down, but that was a little bit later than expected right there, and that really closed them up because Johnny and Bonner are closing on the top 3 right now. Thomas Torp is off in a different race. Honestly, he is missing out on this fight. But Victor Taras, give him a shield or something, because he definitely deserves it. He knows how to defend, and he is definitely, well, I thought I was going to defend once more on Sergio. Sergio was looking to go down to the inside, but he decided not to go for it right there as Sergio and Meyer chasing down Victor Taras. Victor, though, holding it still in 2nd place, but this is a good run down the Hamilton straightaway. Do you see him just staying away from the grass, just saying, down to the inside, I'm gonna be looking for you down to the inside, so they are not going to go right there. But as they continue there's one car closing in on them. It's another pro, and that is Launer. That is somebody that Sergio doesn't want to have behind him, because he just won race number 1 here today, and if he gets ahead of Sergio, he'll be taking the pro win again in race number 2. And Sergio with a big slide, entering the Hager straightaway, and here comes Meyer looking down to the inside to capitalize on Sergio, and here comes Moritz Launer.
Oh my words, I mean, these guys are on the ragged edge of where they can. Sergio, great last lap to obviously get Meyer down here, but they're side by side, a great onboard shot here. Alona now, he was 1.2 back from this battle.
What's Launer gonna do?
Yeah, he's going to go up the inside, I bet you.
Well, he's going up the inside, but he's got another car on the outside. He's going to look for the switchback through club quarter, and here goes Moritz Launer. Launer down to the inside of that beautiful switchback of Dreams textbook one, down to the Hamilton straightaway. And Launer is up into 4th as they go side by side into Abby. Moritz Launer up into 4th.
I mean, insane. I mean, the battle here for 2nd place and that last lap with Sergio, I don't know how he got it.
Oh my God!
Are you alright, Austin, or what?
I'm freaking out. It's awesome.
Oh, the Apex Racing Academy guys just putting Meyer under a little bit of pressure, so the Pro-Am really feeling it from the pro drivers around him. Look, you can see a bit of bump drafting from the teammates to just make sure that both of them are able to get past on small corner, but Meyer is not giving up.
Yanni is being bump dragged down the straightaway to get ahead of Meyer to stay with Bonner and try to fight for that pro victory, but it's unable to happen as Meyer somehow holds off Michael Janney, daredevil Michael Janney, as Max Johansson being the amazing team player that he can do, just bump drafting his teammate down the straightaway to try to keep up the momentum and keep that pressure on Meyer to try to stay with Warner, and Warner is now putting pressure on Sergio for 3rd place as the 2 Apex Racing Academy drivers are trying to get past his Pro-Am driver ahead of him.
I mean, this is just insane, and what this is really lying into Thorpe's hand. He was getting closed down by Torres, but Torres was under so much pressure from Sergio, and literally in 1 lap, the lead extended that again to 1.8 seconds. But again, Torres has got a little bit of a space and closing down Torps again. So as long as Torres is able to be left alone to race on. He can close down that gap to Thorpe in first place, but the battle at the moment seems to be for third place. You got Sergio in third, Alona in fourth, who started P10 in this race number 2, has managed to get right on the back of Sergio. So these two are really going to have a great battle going forward. But Maya, what a great job to holding off the 2 pro guys down there. I don't know how he managed to keep that car ahead coming down that hanging straight, especially with the 2 Apex Racing guys just bump drafting each other down there. It's just like he had a NOS button that he pressed right at the end to get in front.
I feel like it was a slide by Johnny Johansson. He tried to go down to the inside, but then he thought, it's like, should I pass my team? Should I fight with him? Or should I just help him out? Because Johnny did have a slide right there. And that is why they were bump drafting down the straightaway. Normally, you wouldn't see cars do that. As you can see, Meyer just holding off Johnny as Launer and Sergio are battling with each other for third place in the lead of the pro race. This is not the overall lead of the race. Michael Johnny still putting pressure on Meyer, but unable to find that spot to get ahead of Meyer, as it seems like they've kind of fizzled out that fight just a little bit. But up ahead, Launer versus Sergio for third place is definitely still alive.
He certainly is, but Torres has got a little bit of breathing space, and you can see how much that gap to first place is coming down. Was, like we say, 1.8, it's now 1 second, so he's really closing in on our race leader at the moment, is the AM driver. You can see the gap, he's got a little bit of a gap behind him to Sergio, so can concentrate on the car in front, Thorpe, to try and get the first race winner. And I don't think we've ever had an AM winner of an overall race at the moment, and it's just insane, Austin, that we're talking about a pro battle in third place at the moment with a AM and a pro-AM in front of them. I mean, it's just insane. I understand we had the reverse grid, but even so, we are deep into this race, only 4 laps to go, and the pro and the pro-AM and the AM driver are just sticking it to the pro drivers.
It really is, but the pro drivers are battling with each other. That's really allowing Torres to not worry about what's happening behind him, because what's happening behind him is absolutely insanity. Moritz Launer looking down to the inside, just showing a nose on Sergio right there. It's trying to make him make a mistake heading into club quarter, but Sergio knows that Moritz Launer loves the switchback move through club quarter. If you defend down to the inside, he's going to let you have that inside line. And he's going to make you pay for it with a beautiful switchback, which is how he got past Meyer right there. And Meyer is still holding off Johnny and Johansson, as that is Sergio once again on Victor Torres. Big send on Victor. And that's going to be pumped with the brakes for Sergio right there, because there is Launer getting the group all back up. 6 cars, all 2nd through 7th right now, nose to tail with each other.
He had it there as well. He was literally alongside Torres, but had a little bit of a snake coming out there of Village and put paid to his speed. But is Launer coming down the inside?
That's a big dive by Launer. Is there a side by side? I think they touched this a little bit, but Moritz Launer takes 3rd place on Sergio.
Yeah, give him the opportunity there coming through Stowe, and Lana is not one to pass up any given opportunity now, so it's going to be interesting to see what Lana can do against Tars in front in 2nd place, because Sergio could not get past the AM driver in front. So let's see if our race winner from race 1 can make any change, but he seems to be vulnerable. Tars down into the Village into turn number 3. This corner here we're going to look at now, so we'll see how he gets on the break there. It really closes up. You can sort of see how much the pros get right behind the AM driver. I'd love to see an onboard at the moment of Tara's in that cockpit. He must be sweating buckets, realizing how much of them pros are just breathing down his neck. And as you can see again, because of this, that lead again at the front is pulled out to 1.3, 1.4 of a second. So as soon as Tars gets into battle, as we see Alana.
Loner with a dive on Taras, but Taras has been used to dives. He's been dived on by Sergio so many times, he knows what to do. Loner once again just making down to the inside. Let's ride on board of the Obsidian racing car of Sergio Garridel, the 155, in this fight for 2nd place. He's just trying to stay phased right here, but he's lost a lot of time coming out of that corner. You can see the 2 cars ahead of him is pulling away right now down the Hamilton straightaway.
I mean, I'm absolutely gutted we've only got 2 laps left of this race, because it has been absolutely epic from start to finish.
It's going to be even beautiful, even more. Taras I think that's the first time I've seen Tars defend onto the inside. In the view in the background, Launer looking for a sweep right. Launer's alongside of Taras, but Launer, is he too bad? And around goes Johansson. The Apex Racing Academy car, Johansson goes turned around at the end of Village as they're side by side, Launer and Taras. Launer with a dive down to the inside. Sergio's going down to the inside, and Victor Taras has picked up a slowdown penalty. And now Loader and Sergio are back in the fight for second place. Sergio and Loader bumping and banging and bashing wheels together down those hanger straightaway, but Loader stays in second place. Wow. Wow, 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 wow.
Right, it's just unfortunate for the AM driver, just bucking a little bit under pressure, getting a slowdown, but he's still in 5th place. His nearest rival is in 18th, so 13 places still between him and his nearest rival, and he's really got his bit between his teeth as this AM driver, but I think he might be feeling the pressure a little bit more now, certainly in the mix of the pros here. But I mean, Lana, I just don't think he's got time. He is tuning into Thorpe's time at the front, was 2 seconds at the start, now down to 1.3, but I just don't think the time is on his side. So I think Thorpe may be thankful that the amount of battling that's been going on for that second place overall. I mean, it's just been absolutely epic, Austin.
Absolute epic racing happening right here. Thomas Torp of the IGL Coatings E-Racing team. We usually see him racing in Formula 3. He switched over to Porsche Cup. He finished 10th in race number 1. That gave him the reverse grid pole position for race number 2, the sprint race. And Thomas Torp, he's got 3 corners to go, 1.2 seconds ahead of Warner and Guriel. And it's going to be a Pro-Am victory in race number 2, round number 2 to Thomas Torp.
I mean, what a great race out front. Just kept it nice and clean. Always kept that little arm's distance. And I think it paid into the battle for the second place, really closing down as soon as Taras got the opportunity to close it down. But then he got caught by the pro drivers behind him, which really put the battle on. But, I mean, you got to give it to Taras there. The AM driver basically just mixing out, and for the majority of the race, coming down to literally the last lap, was holding that second place, but sort of buckled slightly at the end. Got that little slowdown coming down the hanger straight, which really put pay to him getting a podium position finish here in race number 2. But you can't take it away from him. I mean, what an epic drive from the AM driver. And how's your voice? How's your voice anyway, Austin? You got extremely high there in that race. I was concerned for you.
You know, I don't need drugs. I just need great racing. That's how high. That was awesome. And oh my gosh, that was just pure
we need that every week,
insanity. We need that every single week as well, I think that's a Sim Racing Norway guys just bunching up right there for a photo. They're all up and around, but wow. Thomas Torp takes the overall victory. The IGL Coatings E-Racing car takes the Pro-Am victory as well. Moritz Launer takes the Pro victory, making that 2 for 2 Pro victories here and sweeping Silverstone with a second place finish right there. Sergio Garridel in 3rd place. Andreas Meyer in 4th. Victor Taras. What a race by Victor Taras. The Walk Racing Esports pulling all the strings with an amazing battle and amazing drive to finish 5th overall, but taking the AM victory by 13 spots.
Country
followed
mile.
by Michael Johnny in 6th place, Roger Christensen, Mattel Kunzer, Leon Penn, Mads Johansson, Jordan Johnson, Bogdan Moldovan, and Ross Steele in 13th. They're followed by James Parker, Noah Chilla, Philip Hammer, Carl Frederick Herzog, Emil Koopmas in 18th place. They're followed by Matthias Martins and Max Christenbach, Thomas Minot, Luca Domko, Helner Helmsen, Alexander Scarrett, Kim Andre Storm, Joshua Agazare, Thomas Wangen, and Shane Dunn in 28th place. Simon Madokiev, Ronald Moons, Kim Andre Borklund, Thomas Warrup, Ryan Epperban, and Daniel Merchant in 34th. They're followed by Gordon Hogg, Peter Wadsworth, Taj Edwards, Tim Jarshell in 37th, 38th, 36th. All had incidents and retired. Antoine Mize, Holger Meifart, Hardros Jotuas, Nick Horn, and PJC at the end of our 43-car grid 36 all the way down to 43, all had a incident and retired from the race. But wow.
I mean, apologies for the rest of the grid in that race. We concentrated on the front, but I think you will all agree that that was just an epic battle there in race number 2. Looking at the YouTube chat, there was a lot of support for Victor Torres there. Dennis Bart saying, you know, Torres will come back stronger. You got so much support for the AM driver. I think everyone was rooting for the underdog there in that second race. But I mean, wow, what a race there. I mean, it was just nose to tail from lap number 1 all the way to the finish line on lap number 19. I mean, it was just insane. And I'm just gutted I'm not actually doing the rest of the season, because that was an epic 2 races we just witnessed here tonight.
It really was, and wow, you're gonna be getting me saying wow most of the time, because that was insane. That was some very great racing that we've witnessed right here. Victor Torres definitely deserves a medal and a drive. Honestly, his entire race was pretty much an entire episode of Drive to Survive, because he was just driving to stay in second place. And he was making it work. Sergio was giving him all. Moritz Launer giving it all as well. And I think he was able to stay if he didn't get that slowdown penalty, which really hurt him down that straightaway. It just went a little bit too wide. Entering the hangar straight, picked up that slowdown, and he fell back. Michael Gianni didn't get past Victor Torres for that overall 5th place. But that is an insane finish for Victor Torres, and will be helping him out a lot in the AMS Championship. Thomas Torp as well, getting a big help as well, getting the overall win in the Pro-Am Championship. Moritz Launer, well, he's pretty much swept the pro victory right here today.
Yeah, certainly getting that first race win and a second place in the second race won't hurt Mauritius Lotter's point standings overall in the Pro-Am category. But it's just insane how many I'm just looking at the finishing grid there in race number 2. We had 3 Pro-Ams in the top 10 with 1 amateur drivers. I mean, it's just insane the level of driving in this field that an amateur driver can stick. And obviously, barring a slight incident at the end, possibly being put on a podium there, to be able to still be at the front of the field after 19 laps. I mean, it's just a testimony to how close these classes are to each other.
It really is, and these classes are extremely close. I know we were saying there's about, honestly, we have such a spread of drivers that it could be a 4-class championship. At some points, it's a 4-class championship. At some points, it's a 2-class championship. On this race, I think everybody was so balanced out on this track. It was just so beautiful to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great track choice as well to be able to do. I mean, you saw Hockenheim last week, very difficult to make a pass, but this is chalk and cheese to Hockenheim. There was so much opportunity to make passing moves here, really wide straights to get 3-car wide. And still be able to get around the corner safely. I mean, it was just an epic track and an epic racing from pretty much the whole field. We had battles throughout the whole field in race number 1 and race number 2, but the front of the field in that second race was just amazing to watch. Probably one of the best races I've watched and commentated on in my Apex Racing TV career, which is not very long, but I've done a few races.
It's up there with me, and mine is really long, so I can back you up with that. That was one of the best races I've ever seen here on Apex Racing TV for the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup. And speaking of Porsche Cup, we were waiting for a few interviews. We did have one, but then they left. But next week, we head to Red Bull Ring, but the national circuit. So it doesn't have that long straightaway. It's going to be a very short lap, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be a mix of Hockenheim Ring and Silverstone. It's very wide. It's got opportunities for overtakes, but it's very short. And Red Bull Ring is already a short track. I believe we're going to be seeing 30-second. No, not 30-second. It's going to be a very similar race to this.
It will be. I don't think it'll be as open of it. I've not really seen the national layout around Red Bull Ring, so I mean, I'm imagining that halfway down the straight it cuts in to after turn 5 with a normal, and then just that's the rest of the lap. So it's going to be certainly an interesting track to see. I mean, it's going to be a short track with this amount of drivers on it. The back markers will certainly come into play. So I think the drivers won't have the luxury of all the space that they've had here today at Silverstone, but it's going to be an absolute epic race, and I'll certainly be watching it on YouTube because I've just such enjoyed it. You know, I mean, it doesn't even feel like a job, this. It just feels like an absolute pleasure to commentate on these guys going around this track, the speed they're going and how close, and the respect that each of them are giving, you know, out on track is amazing as well. There's not many incidents at the front of that field that put paid to the battle. It was non-stop from the green flag all the way to the checkered flag.
And speaking of a pleasure to watch, we are joined by our pro overall winner. Well, overall winner. He won race number 1. He took second in race number 2. He swept the pro races. He took the pole. Moritz Launer. Moritz, how was that race today? And you're putting on an amazing show in race number 2 to carve up through the field from 10th place.
Good evening, guys. Yeah, it was actually a lot of fun. For me, it is a test if I have the pace and everything, if the setup works and all that stuff. So I did a little bit of setup work even before this race, a few clicks, and the race was actually good to test if everything works. And I even found out I have to still find something in the setup, a few clicks, so that was good. I was able to get the race win in race 1 with the pole. A little bit of fighting, but overall it was like pretty much getting the pace up front. And then in race 2 it was all about getting through the field, starting from 10th, which is always fun. Like, I really like top 10 reverse races, and yeah, it worked out really well. I had a few contacts here and there, and like one guy spinning in front of me, which was really close to getting a lot of damage. Also got a slowdown there with, I think, Michael behind me as well. I don't know if it was Michael. But yeah, got myself up to P2 in the end, which was really good. Wished I would have had like 1 or 2 more laps to fight for P1, but yeah, the fun was there, and it was really good racing.
The one word, honestly, I can say out that it was fun. You had battles all in front of you, and I'm pretty sure there is a point you're just like, should you just not get involved in this and just watch it? Because it was pure fun to watch everybody battle, and then you pulled off a amazing switchback overtake in club corner. I believe that was on Andreas Meyer on about lap 12. Is that a move that you practice, a switchback at club?
It works really well. Like, some people close the door or park it on the apex, so you gotta try it once and see if it does, if the guy in front of you does it, and then you can't do it a second time. But if you try it once and the guy doesn't expect it or doesn't block the apex, then you're pretty much through, or like get side by side and then make it into turn 1 the move. So it's something you have to try if the guy in front is aware of blocking the apex or not. And then you can make a very good switchback there. You just have to attack a little bit in the first left to make him unsure, and then make the switchback into the right. And yeah, if the apex isn't blocked, it's an easy move, I would say.
Well, it certainly looked like an easy race for you. Race number 1, all you had to focus on was the 2 Apex Racing cars putting pressure on you. Next week, we head to the Red Bull Ring National Circuit. Are you familiar with the National Circuit, or is this going to be like an entirely new experience for you?
I actually drove it once in a different sim, but it was when I was at a DTM trophy race. We had it at a simulator there, and I was like, why would you put this track on? It's super boring, because it's like you start the lap and then you're already back at start-finish again. So I don't really understand why you drive this track in the PESC qualifier, but it is what it is. It's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be tough there because it pretty much no overtaking opportunities. So we will see. I hope it's going to be good racing, but at the moment I don't expect much at this track, to be honest.
All right. Well, congrats on a fantastic overall victory here. First and second place for you. Before we let you go, anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, obviously my teammate Tim. He had a bit of a rough one in the second one. Didn't have too much practice, so he'll come back stronger next time and score some good points for the team. And also to all the guys in the background working there. Also everyone watching my stream. Thanks everyone, and thank you guys for broadcasting and putting on this league. See you next time.
And thank you for putting on a fantastic show. Moritz Launer, first and second place in our tier races. We'll be seeing them again in the Red Bull Ring for round number 3. Good luck in the Porsche Super Cup Championship as well, the PES qualifiers. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here for our fantastic second round of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championships. Honestly, this has been a golden check mark of approval on this race. Definitely one that will be on replay throughout the year because that was amazing. I've been joined by Andy Thompson in the commentary booth and Luis Araya in the production booth. I'm Austin Knight, and I hope y'all have a good night.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers, including Peter Berryman, John Robertson, Brandon Trano, and IndyCar World Champion Alex Palou. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.